Disenchantment, the show where the made-up past becomes a mirror for the present, brings us into Princess Bean's world. And it is a world of totalitarian fathers, fickle friends, and insensitive hillbilly stereotypes.
We gonna have some fun for you, boy!
Yet somehow, Bean plows through all of it, with a fumbling fortitude and a desire to do good. A prime example of a post-feminist heroine. Paraphrasing Rosalind Gill, post-feminist stories position their women as isolated from any greater feminist movement. Their struggle is the result of individual circumstances only, not society at large, and their problems solvable if they just take personal responsibility.
You know, I just realized something. You're the reason I have a drinking problem.
Of course I am. I'm your father.
It's a safe, uplifting narrative for Matt Groening's main audience. Disenchantment acknowledges men's acknowledgement of women's less than equal status.
After my mom died, I felt like I didn't fit in anywhere, really.
But it erases any recognition of the system that perpetuates that inequality, and therefore absolves its male audience of any culpability in said system. Are you saying guys can root for Bean without thinking about our responsibility for real-life gender inequality? Yes. So how do we square that? If Disenchantment refuses to acknowledge the existence of systems of oppression, what value is there in watching it at all?
We deserve to be beaten with our food.
Because it's a stunning fantasy adventure.
I beg you, sir. We are far too humble to receive praise.
It's a fairy tale. And you don't read your kids fairy tales so they go out in the street with a sword looking for monsters. You read them fairy tales so they learn about right and wrong, good, overcoming evil, courage, even in the face of fear.
I saved your life. Now I can go back to ruining it.
Isn't that just conditioning, though? Telling children how to think in the same way as Mary Beth Hralovich argues sitcoms like Leave It to Beaver conditioned women to be docile housewives? I guess. But what do you have against showing people how to be heroes?
I'm normally a nice person.
Disenchantment works with tropes. The evil stepmother, the loyal friend, the heroic knight. We've seen versions of these characters since stories were invented. Yes, they're flat, but we know who they are and how they work, and that lets artists use them to tell big truths about the human experience.
You're never gonna be whole until you figure out who you really are.
Listen to yourselves, guys! Why are you justifying this show? It's good because it's a fairy tale? Seriously? It's an attempt to cash in on the feminist zeitgeist with a strong female character who barely talks to other women, is abusive towards her friends, and whose body keeps getting put on display. It is a regressive, weak-ass image of femininity, and it adds nothing to the cultural discourse. Feminism isn't just about women, man.
How could you do this?
You're gonna have to seriously back that one up, man.
Stop trying to manipulate me.
I get you. Disenchantment doesn't do any more with Bean than the Shrek saga did with Princess Fiona. Disenchantment needs to move aside to make space for shows that are actually moving the conversation on gender forwards. Shows like Insecure, Girls, or Broad City, as Rebecca Wanzo argues. But feminism is about destroying the rules and binaries of the patriarchy, and the patriarchy damages everyone, not just women. Catherine Sender talks about it here. Yes, it doesn't just damage women. There's a whole spectrum of genders that are getting... Patriarchy hurts men too.
Oh no!
Can any of you say you've never wished you were bigger, stronger, meaner, smart but not too smart, handsome but not too cute? You can hear the voices right now. Man up. Stop feeling. You want love? Love is weak. The emotion you should elicit in others is admiration or fear. We're not saying it's worse for men. We're saying it's bad for men. And Disenchantment speaks to that. The elf, who no one will take seriously because he's small and meek.
Could you ever go out with a guy who's dinky?
The cool guy demon, who's unable to face his feelings.
If this is sadness, I don't like it one bit.
The callous, blustery king who's lost and heartbroken with no one to take care of him.
There.
The marauding giant who's a sensitive philosopher.
For God's sake, I'm a grad student!
The beefy griffin who identifies as female.
The lost female of my kind.
The ugly witch who's helpful and kind.
Please, call me Gwen.
The gorgeous, long-lost mother who's straight up evil. The goofy servant who's full of pain.
It's why I can't keep a dog alive.
And the virginal princess who's an alcoholic cartjacker.
I just love driving.
Every fantasy stock character trope is shattered. Yeah, it's heavy-handed.
Gender is a spectrum.
But so is the patriarchy. It's just rules in our heads. And if Disenchantment can show that those rules break just as easily as the laws of fantasy, then maybe we have a chance. So Disenchantment is feminism for men? I hope that's not how they pitched it.